Welcome, gamers, to this week's episode of Last Call Gaming. We're episode 194. Today is May 3rd. My name is Craig Perales. Joining me, as always, Mandrew Montemayor.
Liberdad.
What do you think, Liberdad?
Liberdad. Oh, because I've been playing, I've been playing Far Cry. And so every time I hear them say that, all I think of is the beginning scene of Scarface. Liberdad, before they stab that guy.
Nice. So, as you can see, we pulled some beers on the show today. A couple of Coronas, because it's almost going to be Cinco de Mayo. I figured to get us into the groove a little bit. Any big plans?
No, I am not doing anything this weekend. I don't want to because I'm going to be gone next weekend. I'm going with Dante and Dustin to go see Attila and Born of Osiris. Oh. I don't believe you know who any of those are.
I thought you were speaking gibberish. I think you're speaking tongues.
Either way, if you're going to be in LA at that show and you see me, hit me up.
Nice. Are you not even going to go eat some tacos on Cinco de Mayo? Drink a nice... So is this as close to Cinco de Mayo celebration as we're going to get?
Yeah. I really, honestly, kind of just want to stay home this weekend.
Play some games?
Yeah, and maybe hit the pull up and soak up some sun. But I don't want to be out with, like, all the people right now. I feel like there's just so many.
Especially with after biker weekend, dude. That was a lot of just cops on every block.
Because then it goes biker weekend, and then you have the people that stay, like, the extra little bit before everyone goes away. So I'm just like, no.
Hey, it's always something. So, guys, with that out of the way, make sure you guys are watching us on YouTube to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. If you guys are interested in following us on any of our social media, our Linktree link is in the description. And if you guys are listening to the audio-only version of this podcast, find us on the podcast platform of your choice. So, before we dive into our main story, we'd like to do, what are you up to? We take a second to talk about what we've been playing, what we've been watching. Andrew, I know you're already going to a concert, but what have you been up to, man, this past week?
I know before I said I was like a little bit into Far Cry 6. I'm actually a bit further now. I don't look up like a spoiler thing, but I do look up like main missions to kind of gauge where I am. So I did spoil the fact that, I mean, I guess it'd be obvious when you start playing anyways, that there's more than like one island. So I'm like almost done with like the first one. Okay. So I'm kind of cruising. And at first, I just had a hard time getting into it because maybe I just felt like there was just like so much talking, and I hate like
that beginning's a little slow.
The Mexican dude's accent, it's like worse than like Danny Trejo when he's like trying to talk to you. I'm like, dude, just shut up. And then the dude who gives you the alligator Wapo or whatever, like I just hated that guy. I'm like, dude, you're just so over the top annoying right now. But now that I'm kind of like getting into it, I'm like, okay, like now that they've really given me free reign to do whatever, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not sitting here listening to somebody talk like every 10 seconds when I'm kind of just trying to cruise and do my thing. So I'm enjoying it like a lot more now.
I know you played Far Cry. Have you since 3, or did you dabble in any of the
No, this is my first one.
6 is your first?
Actually, I've played a little bit of 1 and a little bit of 2. But this,
you're playing the old ones that like nobody remembers.
I barely remember those, and so this is like my first one since Far Cry's been established as like that game.
Good. Okay.
But Giancarlo Esposito is great.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He just chews up that scenery.
And as far as watching anything, I know I'd mentioned it before that I'd started it, but I don't know why I stopped. And I finally got around to finishing House of the Dragon because I realized that the new season comes out next month, and it's really good. I remember people before saying like, "Oh, it's maybe not as good as like the original." I'm like, dude, this season so far is better than just like the end of OG Game of Thrones. Yeah. Like this is like
it's a powerful first season, man.
This is prime like Game of Thrones writing, even with the time jump and stuff like that, because I get that they kind of had to like fit a lot in there. I'm like, dude, this is like perfect. Like there's not been an episode where I'm like, dude, come on, like get on with it, or this is stupid, it doesn't make sense. Like it feels great to watch. So if you were waiting off and pull the trigger now, I mean it's good. And then I watched possibly one of the worst movies I've seen in a while. And I was kind of excited for it, too. Now, I know I'd mentioned before, again, something else on the show that I'd watched before was Escape Plan with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone.
That's the movie you hated?
No. I brought that up on the show before because I really liked it. And I remember telling you to watch it. I'm like, dude, it's cool. He gets in the prison and watch him try to figure out, like, they put you in this heat room, but that causes rust because they're out in the ocean, so I'm going to try to break off these bolts because the rust, whatever. It's this crazy way to try to get out of this prison. I watched the sequel thinking I'm going to get more of the same. It is terrible. It is worse than that Winnie the Pooh movie that I watched. Like, Dave Bautista's in this movie, and he, like, serves no purpose in it. There's CGI in here that's like terrible. The prison's fucking terrible. It's supposed to be like an AI run prison, and it's every every bit of this movie is terrible. Even them, like, escaping from the prison, it's terrible. It's just not good at all. And it has none of the charm that I felt like kind of the first one had. I'm like, dude, this sucks. It's kind of just like an action movie with people fighting, and you have an old Sylvester Stallone just going toe-to-toe with some dude who's in his 30s.
Oh, he's actually in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's still in it, and there's another one that I'm not going to... I probably will just watch it.
So you have to do it now.
But he's like... however old, going toe-to-toe with this dude who's in his, like, 30s. I'm like, dude, there's no way this guy would be rocking your ass.
Tulsa King, he does it all the time.
I remember telling Christina I had to rewind it because she was watching it because she liked the first one. There's, like, an explosion, and there's, like, it's almost like they did, like, a Microsoft Paint for a black hole, and then just put, like, cheap flame effects over, like, a building. I'm like, dude, this is terrible. It's so bad. The only kind of maybe cool concept about it was, like, the prison is supposed to be like a spoke on a wheel. So there's an outer and an inner layer that's like both rotating in opposite directions. So that way you can't like determine at what point I'm going to break through this wall tomorrow and on the other side of the wall, the kitchen's right there. And from the kitchen, I can get up or whatever.
Oh, that's cool.
Like it's always in a different spot every
cool
time.
In theory, but...
So I was like, so this sounds like a cool theory, but the movie's just terrible. So for any of you hoping on the Escape Plan franchise... 2 took a massive nosedive. And I knew I was in for it too because I was watching it on Vudu. When you go to watch it, at the top it has the Rotten Tomato score, 7.
Oh.
So I was like, oh. And I love a bad movie, but this was the worst movie I've seen in a while. That I'm like, dude, this is just bad.
This is as bad as it gets, huh?
This was worse than that Winnie the Pooh movie. At least that was fun.
Nice. Now I gotta watch Winnie the Pooh. Was that everything you're up to, my man?
Yeah, what about you?
Let's see. As far as what I've been up to, as far as watching... I just finished Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, which is on HBO.
I wanted to watch that.
Yeah, it's weird because, and Geno kind of reminded me the other day that there's like 5 or 6 new movies, and I always hate that, like, there's no advertisement for these things. Like, you don't see them, because, like, DC makes so many awesome animated things, right? Because obviously their live action isn't as well as you could say the Marvels, but like there's always a ton of good stuff, and it's like, because this came out in January, and it's like, how did I not know about this?
I was gonna say too, I know it's been out for a little bit, but I do like that even though the second one's out now, I don't know if it's on HBO Max, that as soon as you log into HBO Max, this movie was on the front, and that's why I was like, oh, I forgot, I've been meaning to watch this. I didn't realize that it was added on here, because they should do that at the top, like a recently added or something.
Yes, and I would absolutely love that. And for anyone trying to understand what it was, an endless army of shadow demons threatens to destroy the world and all parallel Earths. The only thing opposing them is the mighty combined power of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and their fellow superheroes. It's sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty interesting. I was actually looking it up to see, I'm like, how many actually are there for 100%? And it's not much. It's 105. So the fact that this movie is still holding 100% is pretty cool. It's multiverse centric. So if you already don't like that kind of plot line, because it is kind of being used a lot, then maybe it's not for you. But it's a really cool version that just starts with the Flash. It's a tad confusing in the sense of like, don't be on your phone watching this movie. Don't have it in the background. Don't be doing something, because Flash is constantly just like warping to these new spots, and you've just got to be kind of being familiar with the timeline that's happening, because it's all going to fit together. So in this first one, it's they deal with Amazo's kind of the main enemy, which is, they do a really cool take on Amazo. So, because usually he's the guy that can kind of absorb all their powers. They do a really cool take on that. The way it's ending is finally all the superheroes are getting together. So yeah, I just finished the part 1. I'm going to roll into part 2, but I was looking on it too. There's like 4 other movies that I just haven't seen yet. So I do kind of want to dive down that DC. And so tons of good stuff, but I do want to finish these 2. The art style is a little different. I like it. I don't love it. It kind of reminds me of like Archer, where it's kind of like the bold black lines and stuff like that. But overall, though, pretty good. Jensen Ackles is Batman. Zachary Quinto is Lex Luthor. So it's got a good cast. Jimmy Simpson is Green Arrow, so that's some good voice actors.
I've seen part of it in my YouTube, and that's kind of how I found it at first. You know, YouTube has like your little short feeds, and it always feeds you stuff. And I seen some clips from it. I'm like, okay, this looks really cool. I think the reason maybe I put it on the back burner is because I've seen, obviously, spoiler alert, there's like the shit with like Ultraman and the Syndicate and stuff like that. So I'm like, why did you guys restart the universe at the end of the last one where they fight a Darkseid and stuff like that? Just to almost tell like the same story again with the same villain and stuff again. So I'm like, I don't know, but I'll give it a chance.
Yeah, I'll have to see how number 2 ends, and I'm sure Denny's probably seen it by now.
I heard the second one's a little weak though.
Oh, dude, the first one ends. I mean, light spoiler. When it comes to the crime syndicate, they decapitate.
I've seen that.
They decapitate someone, and they have his head on their wall, and I was like, dude, that's pretty hard. So it's going to be unfortunate if the other one kind of gets weaker, where I thought it was in the point of ramping up. So that's what I just watched. And as far as what I've been playing, Andrew hates if I'm going to keep talking about Final Fantasy VII, so I'll just say that I made it to Chapter 9 out of 14, so I'm cruising. But the other day I was kind of like, you know what, I do want to play something else, and it's just kind of a chapter-based game. And I was actually, I called you the other day about it, so I started playing Yakuza, is it Kiwami?
Kiwami, yeah.
Kiwami, which is on the Game Pass. It's an action-adventure video game developed by RGG Studio and published by Sega. It's a remake of Yakuza, the first game in the Yakuza series, originally released on Sony's PS2. This one initially released on January 21st, 2016. I absolutely loved, is it Zero? Is that the first one I played?
Yeah.
So, dude, Yakuza Zero, I'm so glad I played it first, because rolling into this one, I was even telling Andrew, I'm like, it would have been weird not knowing who this guy was at first and this guy was. So it was nice to pick it back up. I do like it. It's nice playing it. I guess you would call it remade, because one of the things I was reading is it says similar to the plot, the original Yakuza. So I don't know how much different Kiwami changes from the original. I don't know if they take some liberties, but
I think they changed like some of the flashbacks or like some things and maybe added a little more exposition, especially with like Zero and stuff. But I'm pretty sure the plot's like 95% the same. It's not like this person dies in one and doesn't die in the other.
Okay, yeah. So as far as that goes, I wanted to keep playing Yakuza, so the natural progression was, I asked Andrew, I'm like, which one's the next one? So I just started playing it again, and again, just slow play it, chapter by chapter here, and I'm on chapter 3 now.
You hooked in so far?
It's enough to let me at least do one more and see where it goes, because I forget their names already. The restaurateur in Zero, meeting him, dude, he's way different. And then you meet because I keep wanting to say Kazuha, but the main dude, his best friend, he's not way different. So it's just, I don't know if it would have been better to see him this way and then get the origin, but I like seeing what they were moving into this.
Well, it explains
if that makes sense.
It explains why certain people are the way that they are, because that's kind of that thing is, you're almost the same as like Cosmo, like he's getting out of prison but doesn't understand why like his friends like against him now and like a piece of shit and stuff, and so that's just part of that mystery and everything that unfolds. So yeah. I think it'll get there and ramp up for you. I was gonna say, funny enough too, when this game came out on PS2 in English, Goro Majima is voiced by Mark Hamill.
Oh, see, that's pretty cool. And again, this is a lot of just silly fun. Like, that's what this is, and it's like there's just so much nonsense going on of all these weird plots that involve like their mafia and stuff. So at the end of the day, I am having fun with it, and I'm glad I did kind of like pick it back up and go, okay, at least I'm slowly moving down the Yakuza path, which I'm sure it's going to take a while. So that's what I've been watching, and that's what I've been playing. So leave down in the comments below, guys, what you've been watching and what you've been playing. So with that down out of the way, guys, let's move into our main story, and that is the Xbox Games Showcase was announced for Sunday, June 9th, and they're going to be followed by a hidden direct right after. And this comes to us from Engadget, just to kind of catch up with what's happening, and then we'll kind of dive into it. Microsoft has officially announced the next Xbox Games Showcase. In a blog post, the company said the summer version will be on Sunday, June 9th at 10 a.m. PT, 1 p.m. ET. The event will be followed by a cryptic, redacted direct that probably isn't much of a mystery. The teaser logo looks like something ripped from the Call of Duty franchise, and reports have already pointed to the military shooter's next installment arriving this year. Microsoft describes the direct event as a special deep dive into the next installment of a beloved franchise. Further squashing any intrigue, The Verge says it's confirmed the event will focus on Activision Blizzard's long-running franchise. This will be the first Xbox showcase with the Call of Duty maker officially within Microsoft's grasp. Well, I figured we'd start there before we kind of dive into what we think the showcase is going to be. I think what's up?
I was going to say, I don't think it mentions it in that one, but I do want to point out that they did say afterwards, too, they're going to have like one of those deep dives like they did last year where they go like game by game, and I think they do like interviews with the people and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, okay, we really liked watching that after the last show. I'm like, cool, that's the perfect thing to be its own thing and not during the presentation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, separate that, because that is way better. Because again, if you don't want to listen to that, you don't have to. But let's just start with the Call of Duty thing. I think it's fair to say that is what it is. I mean, even looking at that picture, that's what I got out of it. I thought the whole redacted thing was just kind of a play on how all their missions are. And as far as it goes, from what I was seeing too, the next one I think, I mean, maybe you can confirm it, is Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War. So is that who would be next up in line? So you talk to me about the Call of Duty, because me, I'll just play it, but I don't know what it means to you about coming up.
It's obviously Call of Duty, because even when I'm playing Call of Duty the other day during their patch notes, they put bunkers that they added now, and the bunkers have been in the map, but how to get into them, it doesn't say anything. It just says redacted in big letters, so it's like you couldn't be any more obvious. So yeah, the next one would be Call of Duty Black Ops Gulf War. Now, this is actually going to be the first...
Oh, you had it written down too? Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be the first Call of Duty that's actually on a 4-year cycle. This one's going to be made by Treyarch, who have always done the kind of Black Ops. I think they are looked at a little bit... I think before, Infinity Ward was kind of looked at as like the sweetheart of the Call of Duty franchise, and then it was Treyarch and then Sledgehammer. But I think in more recent years, Treyarch's more been the one, especially within like the Warzone scene. I mean, there's been lots of rumors. It's already been leaked that it is Gulf War, that now they're going to do maybe another kind of similar open world, but maybe more focused than what we got on the last one, which if you're going to do that, I hope so. It's much better than the last one, because the last one was not good. It was really missing that kind of over the top. Those over the top, like moment to moments to moments, that's kind of what really makes Call of Duty. What is nice about it is that we would be seeing it a lot sooner, because actually for the past 2 years, I believe, we haven't seen anything about Call of Duty until usually August, September, October. I know Modern Warfare 3, they didn't reveal it until like August, I think like 21st. So instead of doing summer reveals, we weren't seeing them or getting any information about it until almost a month or so before the game's release date. So that's nice to see that they're kind of moving it up forward, and maybe that's because they're a lot more confident in that. Hopefully that shows confidence in what they have to show. And I know one of the biggest things outside of not just Call of Duty, this is obviously when they bring this in, they're going to link it to Warzone, is everyone's hoping that this is going to bring, it's rumored to be bringing back Verdansk, which is that OG Warzone map that everybody loves, would come in with this a month or so after launch. So either way, I think it sounds cool. I would be excited for it. I would say I've liked more of the Black Ops recently than I have the Infinite Warfare, or the Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare 3, 2019 was really good.
Great.
2 was okay. I liked it. And then 3 just sucked. I didn't really care for it at all. There was a couple cool parts in it, but I would say Cold War was dope as hell. Cold War was awesome. Sick. So that I'm hoping to get something
nice. So yeah, I think it's kind of solidified that it is going to be Call of Duty, and it's going to follow them, because I think the year before that they did Starfield as the direct. So it looks like Xbox is kind of moving down this path that it wants to do these big kind of deep dive directs afterwards. So it's going to be cool that Call of Duty gets kind of a closer look at it. So
I like that for their their hype games, like, you know, here's our big on thing.
Yeah, and especially if they're going to be focusing on Activision Blizzard, then it's cool that they're going to be showing off an Activision game. So with that being said, guys, there's going to be a lot of stuff at this Xbox showcase. We can speculate all day of what we think is going to be there. This thing is already said to be bigger than last year's. It's going to be showing more games, more first-party, more third-party games. So instead of sitting here and going over all of it, because by the time it comes around next month, that's when we'll kind of look at it and see break it down. So what we decided to do was pick out 2 different things that we think should definitely be there, and, you know, for us, how much we like it, or something that needs to be required for Xbox to show. And then we kind of each picked a Hail Mary pick that if it's there, cool, but it's probably not likely that it will be. So, Andrew, why don't you start us off with what's your first pick of what you want, and maybe possibly, you know, why you want it there?
My first one that I kind of really want to see there would be Perfect Dark, because they showed off, obviously, that reboot done by the Initiative, like 4 years ago? 5 years ago, maybe? It's been a while. And it, obviously, cool concept. Like, I want to see more of that. I think it's finally time to bring something like that back out into light, because I can't really think of another game that really would be like that, and I would love... that's something that I know people would love to see. It's like a classic IP. You own it. You have the studios now. Do something with it.
Yeah, please. That was your first one. So my first one, and I've been preaching it on every time they do an event, is Fable, a.k.a. you know, Fable 4 at one point, done by Playground Games. This thing, for me, has just been talked about for far too long without anything really happening. We had a light teaser trailer, and we had another kind of animation trailer. But I just want to read this to show you how long it's been talked about. After years of leaks and rumors, Playground Games officially announced it was working on something new alongside its regular Forza releases back in 2020, confirming it was reviving the Fable series. But it goes on that this wasn't the first mention of the new installment. It came in back in 2017 when the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, said on Twitter that the franchise had a lot of places it could go. In early 2018, Eurogamer reported that Playground Games, renowned for their work on the Forza Horizon series had initiated the development of the 4th installment in the Fable series. Later that same year, it was disclosed that Playground Games was actively recruiting 177 positions dedicated to an open-world role-playing game. So this thing, I've just been on a roller coaster ride since 2017. Obviously, it was exciting to hear that Playground was going to take over it because, was it Lionhead who did Fable originally?
Yeah.
They're a debunked studio. So there's two things that I really like seeing about this. One is that Fable is a very fun game, even though it's deep in the typical type of fantasy. And I don't mean fun in just gameplay. It has a very particular type of cheeky British humor that you don't see in a bunch of other games. The closest thing I was thinking of lately that we've played was kind of something like High on Life, where the game just kind of pokes fun at itself. It's constantly making you laugh. And I think we kind of need more of that. The other thing I'm excited to see, why I want it to come out so soon, is it's nice to see a studio that's so good at what they do, not stuck in, making one type of game. The Coalition forever is going to make Gears games. The 343 is always going to make Halo games, where Playground, it's okay, they did Forza, and Forza is beautiful. It was up for my game of the year for when Forza Horizon came out. I want to see what they can do with a new franchise that's not, or a resurrected franchise, that's something they don't normally do. And maybe that is what's taking them so long, the transition from doing hardcore racing games into this medieval fantasy. But I'm super excited to see what they can do. And it's just been talked about for so long that I think this needs to be the showcase that even if the game's coming out next year, show me, I need gameplay and I need a hard date, please. Because the trailer where the giant's talking and the chick's running around and about to get eaten, she's like, oh, fuck. That's cool, but you got to show me what the game is, because if you're going to tell me that this is now an open world role-playing game, then I got to see what that's like, and I think it's just been way too long, and I need it now. I needed it yesterday.
I think, that'd be especially good to see what a studio like that could do, so that way they're not just kind of pigeonholed.
Yeah.
Because you had the same thing last year, and unfortunately, maybe sales didn't quite meet what it should have. But you and I were both super high on Dead Space Remake, which came from, I think it was Motive who remade that game, and they didn't really have a track record of doing, horror or something like that. And that game came out and 10 out of 10.
Yeah, so I'm really excited when I get to see games or studios get to work on something else, because you got to imagine that's got to be either half the fun of working there is working on something you enjoy doing, but it could also be the thing that's the nail in your coffin when you're I got to keep doing this for 10 more years. So it's going to be cool to kind of see them bounce between. I mean, I'm sure it's different teams within it, but just doing between two different projects at one time. So I like that.
My next one that I would want to see is, there's been rumors for a while now about a Oblivion and a Fallout 3 remaster. I would love to see either one of those two at this. Actually, especially two, because Elder Scrolls is set to be, Elder Scrolls 6 would be the next game typically in line, and they've already said that's at least another year or 2 years away. So especially with how hot the Fallout show is doing right now, a Fallout 3 remaster, because I was even reading an article the other day saying that Fallout 4 physical copies are scarce to find because so many people are buying and picking up that game, that strike while the iron is hot. If anything, I wouldn't have even waited for this. I would have been like, hey, you know what, here's just something early, here's the Fallout 3 remaster coming at this date or something like that, and then they could have even had saved Oblivion for the show or something like that. But either way, with the success of that show, strike while the iron's hot, because those are two definitely beloved games.
Yeah, I bet they're kicking themselves now that they didn't have something to release when the show dropped. I mean, all the sales for all the games went up, and all the gameplay time went up, but it's it would have been cool something, or even a DLC pack for something would have came out. So, yeah, I would agree with you on that one. As far as my second one, it's not even so much a game that I want to play, per se. It's just a game that I need to know, what is going on with it. And it's Everwild, which is made by Rare, which is announced back in, announced during the XO19 event in November of 2019. Everwild was a shock reveal from Microsoft, unexpected by fans, given Rare's staunch commitment to Sea of Thieves. Now, it's just, every time I try looking anything up, I'm on the official Rare Everwild site, and all it says is Everwild, a magical new IP in development at Rare. Everwild is a brand new IP in the works at Rare, where unique and unforgettable experiences await in a natural and magical world. And that is it. And you're telling me for 5 years there's nothing else about this game that anyone knows about? We and Andrew
kind of game it even is?
Yeah, we watched the trailer again, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know what this is. And I always kind of think that Microsoft recently got Rare, and it wasn't. They got Rare for $375 million on September 24th of 2002. And I'm like looking at
years ago, but they were also stuck doing what were those things called? Not Mii's, because that's Nintendo's thing. What were the stupid avatars? Because they were doing
all the Xbox Avatar ones?
Yeah, they were doing all the stupid Xbox Avatar games for like ever.
Yeah, so what I'm looking at some of their stuff from 2002. Nothing really is, and again, they were still going cross-platform. They were doing things for Nintendo, GameCube, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and 2005 was Perfect Dark. Viva Pinata was 2006. You know, nothing really. Kinect Sports was doing stuff.
Oh, Kinect. That's what a lot of Kinect stuff.
Yeah, they had a Kinect. And I get that Sea of Thieves has been super, super successful. But that's 2018. I mean, the only thing they've put out since then is Battletoads in 2020. And Battletoads was a fine game. But I don't. Did we even beat Battletoads? I mean, it wasn't like Ninja Turtles when it came out. You know what I mean, it was an okay game. So you just I gotta know. Then what was the point of buying Rare? Because at this point, I know Rare is not the same studio as it was back in the day making Donkey Kong and things like that. But if they haven't done anything, and I'm sure Sea of Thieves is making them a decent amount of money, and I know that it's going cross-platform. But it's like, again, I don't want a studio stuck doing one thing. You don't want to just be doing Sea of Thieves. So as cool as Battletoads was, the main reason I want to see this game is like, just show me what it is. Please just tell me that you guys are doing something. It's been 5 years. Like, what do you have to show for it outside of a trailer that really is just kind of, I don't say misleading, but like doesn't show me, it's vague. It doesn't show me anything. So I more want to see, I think Everwild has to be at this event, because if not, then I feel like this game's either going to get canceled, or what's the point of having Rare? If it's all of its stuff is going to be cross-platform, then you could have just left Rare alone. There's no point on buying it.
I completely forgot about this game, and I'm just like, it's just one of those things that...
Besides Killer Instinct. I forgot they did Killer Instinct in 2013, and that was kind of cool. But again,
it was also with like Double Helix, too, or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, I don't know. For me, that's a game I think they need to show and at least tell us more about it, so...
Well, what's your Hail Mary?
Was you already do your number 2?
Yeah.
Oh, so my Hail Mary is... and again, they said that Call of Duty and... Warcraft games can't even come to the Game Pass until 2024. Well, here we are in 2024, and my Hail Mary would be if they have World of Warcraft, the MMO, actually come to the Game Pass, because they have a new expansion coming out, The War Within. And I think if you're going to do something cool with the Game Pass, because that's the other thing they need to start doing, is they need to start implementing more things on the Game Pass. And right now it's really just Diablo 4. And if you could somehow bundle the World of Warcraft with its new expansion, I think that would be a really kind of cool drop. I think it will come eventually, but it'd be really cool if I think they announced it next month that World of Warcraft is going to be on the Game Pass. And I think that's my Hail Mary. That'd be big.
I always feel like, too, like, that'd be something cool. It's something I wouldn't play, but, like, what people say holds it back is, like, playing on controller is not really a way to. Like, there could be... I don't understand why there's this idea that every game has to, like, function with a controller. Like, what you could play this on your Xbox from your console, but it's got to be mouse and keyboard, which it supports. But a lot of people would like that than having to go sit at, like, their PC rig or something like that.
Yeah, just USB keyboard in there.
Yeah, you could just sit right here and, boom, right here in front of your TV. So that'd be kind of cool. My big Hail Mary... and that I'm still hoping for, and is either Final Fantasy 16 or I'll say like news just on 7 coming to Xbox. And I would say too, because a lot of people are complaining, the big news right now is that Rebirth is not putting up the numbers like it should have, and that it's behind. And you can tell that as a fact. I'm not saying that it's doing poorly, but they are not announcing like they were before, like, oh, it's crushed this goalpost, this goalpost, this goalpost, this goal. We've heard absolutely nothing, which is unlike them for when these past 2 games were crushing goalposts. So hopefully maybe that opened up their minds to be like, okay, you know what, like, we can at least do something, even if it's just 16, just give me something. Or maybe even that rumored Final Fantasy IX remake. So just something from Square Enix is a good sign of faith, just to let me know that you haven't abandoned me on Xbox. Please.
Yeah, because Square Enix, man, I understand they want to stay with like the Sony ecosphere and keep all that, but it's like you can't justify the means to that end if your games aren't selling as much anymore. Like Final Fantasy Rebirth, if it's not selling as good as number 1, how do you make it better? And again, that we're all in that world now where everything's kind of moving over to PC, but it's like, why are you signing these year-long exclusive right deals to PlayStation? It's like, make your money. Like, please make your money. I mean, I would love to play 16 and Rebirth on Xbox, but it's like, I don't know why they're doing that to themselves just to stay friendly with Sony.
Yeah, so either way, that's what I would love to see personally.
What do you think? Who do you think is more realistically going to happen? If one of them did happen, who do you think it would it be?
Mine, for sure.
I think so too. I think I'm living a wild dream over here. But just to move past, just so keep you guys up to date on a couple of other things that are expected to be there. We still have Compulsion Games, South of Midnight, In Exiles, Clockwork Revolution, Undead Lab, State of Decay 3, Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed, and The Outer Wilds 2. We also have Arcane with Marvel's Blade game, Machine Games, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and then there's talks of having Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield's Shattered Space DLC, Diablo 4's Vessel of Hatred expansion, as well as I said earlier, Warcraft Warrior Within, and then obviously something new with Call of Duty. The studios that I don't think have anything on the board yet in terms of what to expect is 343 Industries, Double Fine, id Software, Tango Gameworks, and they had the Coalition on here, but as of lately, the rumors are starting to kind of speculate that Gears 6 is going to be making an appearance at this, and apparently it's going to be more than just showing the game. So this comes to us from FandomWire.com. It says, recently on the official X handle, popular industry insider Tom Warren shared the news of the Xbox Summer Showcase, followed by a Call of Duty Direct. Tom Warren, if you're not familiar with it, I believe is a writer for Variety, and he gets a lot of pretty right inside scoops, so he's a pretty safe bet to follow. In this post, a fan expressed his wish for Gear 6 to be revealed at this event, and in his tweet back, Tom Warren says, they're showing more than just Gear 6 with a smiley face. In this regard, Warren's reply has sparked some real speculation. He has stated that in this event, more than just Gears will be shown. And it goes on to say that this isn't the first time Gear 6 has been speculated to show, but if it is popping up, a lot of people are kind of having this speculation that if he's saying not just Gear 6, they're saying that maybe they're finally doing a full-on remastered collection, and I don't know if it would be all of them, but at least probably 1 through 3. I mean, is that what you would look at it, or is it just... I mean, I don't know what more than Gear 6 would be.
It'd be another game we could start and not finish.
I'm waiting on you, brother. I don't know. What are your thoughts on things? It's weird because the last Gears game, if I'm not mistaken, I have it pulled up here. The last Gears game, Gears 5, came out September 6, 2019. So it is very odd that for a flagship game franchise for them, that it took this long, especially when it does have its really, really dedicated fans.
I like that, though.
That it's taking that long?
Yeah, because we've had Halo, and granted, we should have had other things in between.
You want to wait 6 years? That's not 3 years. It's not 4. It's 6 years.
It doesn't bug me, especially because I'm not the biggest Gears fan, so...
So you would want 6 years for your Call of Duty?
But Call of Duty has multiple teams working on it that I could take a Call of Duty every other year.
I know, but let's say, I'm just saying 6 years is weird for because this isn't a third-party game that you're putting on Xbox. This is Xbox's first-party game that first-party studios should be taking care of. And 6 years, and we're barely kind of hearing, and the first thing we got to hear about is from Tom Warren, who it seems like a nice guy, but it's like that's the message we're getting from, is an inside scoop, not Xbox blowing it up and saying, hey, get ready because blah, blah, blah is coming on June. And you know what I mean? I feel like they could have really vamped this up and took advantage of it instead of being like, oh, it might be there. Because once the secret's out of the box, it's like, well, then you can't catch, you know what I mean? It's not going to be hot anymore.
Get ready because they just settled all their lawsuits. Fuck you, Debbie.
So I don't know. I think it's going to be really cool to see Gears. I've really been looking forward to it.
I like the last one.
Did you really?
No, I had a good time when we played 5. I think 5 was like... Because I had played 1 and then I didn't play anything until 5. You and me beat 5 together. Or maybe me and Christina beat 5 together.
No, I think I beat...
me and Christina beat 5
together.
together.
By myself, and I think I went back and played with Geno or you or something.
You and me did the prequel one, and then we started one and then just fell off.
That's usually how it sounds. So... that's going to be, our big picks of what we would like to see there, and a couple of rumblings of what else is going to be there. So leave us down your comments below what you would like to see and what you hope is going to be there. So with that out of the way, guys, let's move into questions of the week. Now, guys, if you want to leave a question Andrew and I can answer on the show, you can do so a couple different ways. You can leave a comment down below in the YouTube section. We can grab it there. You can email us at lastcallproductions@gmail.com, or you can find me on social media at Craig Perales, and we can take it there. And the first question comes from Nico T, and they write, did you see Todd Howard recently say that Fallout is going to stay in America and not explore other locations for further games? Do you think this is a smart idea? So, yeah, IGN had a pretty big article. I'll leave the link down below, and I'll kind of just catch you up on it, and we can take it from there. It says, for years, Fallout fans have wondered if a video game in the franchise will ever leave the United States for another country. According to Fallout lore, the nuclear war of 2077, upon which the franchise is based, was not localized to the U.S., but a global event. And so the idea of, traipsing astound post-apocalyptic London or even Canada has long been mooted by fans. In the new interview with Kinda Funny Games, Bethesda development boss Todd Howard ruled out such a move, confirming that the studio's plan is to keep the Fallout series set in the U.S. Howard explained the decision by saying he's a big fan of the Americana naivete that informs so much of Fallout's tone. Fallout is set in a retro-futuristic post-apocalypse in which players contend with the remnants of everything from evil American corporations to various factions based upon existing U.S. entities. Fallout works as a satire of American exceptionalism as much as it does as an open-world playground. Now, it's so weird because I went and watched the Kinda Funny interview. It's over an hour long. The part that he talks about is... it runs from 26:42 to 28:30. It's literally less than 2 minutes of this huge interview. And I'm like, and I get that it's important. I get that it's interesting that, if it's going to be stuck in U.S. But I'm like, this was less than 2 minutes of what this guy said. Like, the more interesting thing to me is, like, right before that, for like 10 minutes, he talks about now that Obsidian and all of them are back under the same roof. Could we start seeing more Fallout Vegas stuff? And to me, I'm like, why is nobody talking about that? Why are they bringing up this U.S. thing? But I guess it's a fair question to ask. But I'll start with you, Andrew. I mean, you can start it off. Does it matter if it's anywhere else? Because, I mean, we can look at, like, Assassin's Creed game. It doesn't do anything, really, if it's somewhere else. Is it cool to kind of see something else? Yeah, but, I mean, if the game is where it's at, I mean, would you ever want it to move? Especially when they're all kind of connected, are they not?
I would say I don't think so. I mean, actually, I think within the modding community, I think they're working on like a big one that's supposed to be like set in like London or something like that. I think just got postponed, and they were pissed off because they said like Bethesda didn't say anything to them as a community or something about that next gen update or something. So that's kind of got to be like reworked. It's like something set in like London or something, but I don't think I'd really want to see it set anywhere else because I feel like that's part of the charm is like that whole like okie dokie and that old time like radio-y like here we go like stuff or whatever. Like that's like an American kind of culture thing. I guess unless other places are like that, I don't really know about anything from like during that time around anywhere else. But I feel like that part of that charm is us at that time. And obviously, even though it's like a satire and taken to like a 10 or whatever, that is the charm of why I love playing that game. There's a big difference between why I love this game and I just like what's that other one that takes place in Russia? I can't think
Metro
of it.
Exodus?
Metro Exodus. Obviously, Metro Exodus isn't a timepiece set in something like that, but it is a post-apocalyptic game in Russia, and there's a big difference between the two. One has a charm and one does not.
Yeah, I just, to me, it's like, this is...
But you're doing almost the same thing, kind of.
I just always looked at it as like, oh, this game takes place in America. Again, this isn't like a Far Cry where you can just kind of, let's do it in this place this time, let's do it in this place this time, because it all takes part with different stuff. With this game, and like he says, the Americana is, to me, that is what captures me with that, with the whole Fallout. So it's a interesting question, and I'm sure people are always like, oh, is it going to be, because London would probably make sense to do it. Would it be cool to see Fallout in like the Great Wall of China and see what that would look like, or like the pyramids in Egypt? That'd be kind of cool, but to me, like, I like what he says. It's the Americana that captures it, and to me, I never even thought about another place, because I think it says...
So they do Anchorage, Alaska. I think the furthest maybe I would want to see it goes, like, Hawaii.
Let's see. I think so far they have the West and East Coast with California, Nevada, Washington, D.C., and Boston.
Alaska.
They have West Virginia, and, yeah, and then, of course, you have the Fallout TV show, which is set in Los Angeles. So... I don't know where else you would really go, but I mean, is there anywhere else cool that would be like
you could do like Texas or
Texas would be kind of cool.
Texas or like one of the Dakota. I don't know, somewhere like Midwest.
Yeah, so I don't know. I didn't really think much of it until and again, dude, I was watching the interview and I'm like, oh, when's this pop up? And I got them like, this is like he talks about it for like 2 minutes and then IGN has to blow it up with this huge big article. I'm like, it's not that big of a
deal.
Florida, Flow Writer.
Cancun.
Awesome. So thank you for the question. And the final question comes from Chris K. And they write, I just read there is talks to make Golden Axe into an animated series. Do you think we are getting too many video game adaptations lately? And are they just reaching for any IP they can find? So yeah, I
did see that.
Yeah, I did see. I think Geno posted it in Last Call. Yeah, Geno posted it in Last Call. So I pulled it up there. And from Daily Highlight, it says, Sega's iconic arcade game, Golden Axe, is being chopped into an animated comedy series. Comedy Central has placed a 10-episode order for the show, bringing the fantastical world of Golden Axe to life in a hilarious new way. The series is co-created by Mike McCann, known for Star Trek, Lower Decks, and Solar Opposites, and Joe Chandler, whose credits include American Dad and Napoleon Dynamite. The story will center on the classic Golden Axe trio, the veteran warriors Axe Battler, Tyrus Flare, and Gilius Thunderhead. Once again, they'll be facing off against the evil giant Death Adder, who just can't seem to stay down for the count. Adding a twist to the dynamic is the introduction of Hampton Squibb, an inexperienced and underprepared adventurer, joining their ranks. So, to answer your question, is there too much video game adaptation? I don't think so, as long as it's good, because what you got to remember, there was too much video game adaptation when everything was bad.
Yeah.
But we're finally getting to the point where we've got Castlevania, we've got Cuphead, we've got Last of Us, we've got Fallout, we've got Mario, we've got, like, things are moving in a great way. And you can argue, is it because comic books are kind of draining the well dry and video game is the next big thing? Sure, but I mean, we got to pull it from somewhere. And I'd argue most people aren't even old enough to remember what Golden Axe is. I mean, I do, and I don't even remember their names. I don't remember their names: Axe Battler, Tyrus Flare, and Gilius Thunderhead. And as long as it's good, and what I also like is that instead of going in a way of like a Cuphead or like a Castlevania or like an Arcane, like Comedy Central is doing this to make a comedy with these guys, and it seems like it's going to go down a path that doesn't kind of reminisce the game, where the game kind of has like this Conan the Barbarian type feeling. I would love to see these guys be goofballs, and I don't know, this new Squibb guy coming in, and he's going to be the butt of some jokes. So I don't know. How do you look at it, Andrew? Are they pulling for just any IP? Because Golden Axe is kind of scared. Not a lot of people are going to know that. And is it too much?
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like Golden Axe is a little bit much, but I mean, as long as it's good, I could see it working. I feel like the perfect example of maybe, since it's a medieval thing, is like have you ever watched like Venture Brothers?
Yeah.
Like that kind of comedy, but in medieval.
Yeah.
Brock Samson dude, just put him in like a loincloth or something like that.
Exactly.
And that would be the perfect thing. Because I think they even do an episode like that where it's like in the past and he's like a caveman or something like that. Or maybe I'm confusing it with something else, but I want to say it's like his character that they used for that. That was the first thing I thought of, where I'm like, okay, well, I've seen something kind of similar to what I think maybe this could be, that it works for me. So
yeah, or even if you look at things like, I think it's called Disenchanted. Is that the Matt Groening one where it's like,
yeah,
it's like just as long as, and again, dude, Comedy Central putting it together is even better, because I like the fact that, because there's only so many things studios can do with comic book properties, right? Marvel's going to do all the Marvel stuff. But when you have games, you can get a lot of different interpretations. You can get Netflix doing this on one. You can get Comedy Central doing this on one. So until they start going bad again, I'd argue against it. Too much is too much. Because I think right now we're getting to a point where we're seeing a lot of different people express different kind of ideas of what video game adaptations can be. And to be honest with you, I'm actually looking forward to this now. Like the fact that, because I didn't know it was going to be a comedy at first. I'm like thinking, like a more mature kind of thing, but this
Black comedy.
Yeah, this sounds fantastic. So I understand your point, but again, until it's bad, then I'm gonna keep saying it's good. So anything else you want to say on video game adaptations?
No, I'm the same way. Until it starts getting bad again, I guess I'm up to give them a chance.
Excellent. So guys, that is the end of episode 194. Join us next week for episode 195. And until next time, guys, my name is Craig Perales. This handsome fellow is Mandrew Montemayor. Cheers.
De verdad.